Welcome, everybody. Welcome to BeoTalk number 316.
The second last one from this location. Call it is. I hate the fact that it's a mess in here.
Sorry, that
Uh,
was me, the ding ding
I
ding.
ding dong dang. All right.
Uh,
So
how's
yeah,
everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. Do some chilling, go buy something at Skinny Play. Link is in the chat. Use the promo code to get 10% off. And that's about it.
that's it.
Pray for Willie when he's moving.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's yeah, the theater's coming down today, man. I can't. It has to go down because I'm dancing around it. I can't put any boxes in here. That's why side is clean, and then this side I didn't even sleep in the apartment tonight. So a lot of laughs. So
The joys of moving.
yeah, I'm gonna pack up the 18s, all the BNO stuff, so I can when I on 26th I get my keys, so I can start,
4 days.
do a couple evening trips and just start dumping stuff into the rooms. And
Sweet. Also, come
and
join the Discord if you haven't yet already, where
yeah,
you can admonish and give compliments when Willie finally takes pictures of the stuff he does.
yeah, I finally remembered, and it was such an intricate job because obviously the mill work, right, and getting into it and blah blah. And she first of all, like the client didn't want us to even touch it, right? Like I will have the meuble guy, as they call him here, the millwork dude, to come in and drill the holes for us, right? And I was there to so she can pick the colors because there's three different colors, which one would look nicest, right? So I came in there with my tools, opened the thing, blah blah blah, showed him the speakers, and then when she saw it, I'm like, if he needs to come in here to drill that, he's like, this is the bit he needs to use to drill that with. And she looked at my tools. Obviously, everything's clean, right? I'm one of
Mm.
those weird people that washes their fucking drywall so after a job. Uh, but it's clean. So anyhow, yeah, she's like, no, 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 you'll do the holes and stuff. So I came in and basically took apart the entire like the shelf and the cabinetry and took out the shelf, the, the drawer mechanism, right? So I can get access to the little hatch that they had there for the conduit and blah blah blah. And and the four screws that remove that fake, like not a fake shelf, but like a hollow space shelf inside.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then and they're like, oh yeah, there's space between the drywall and the wood, bro. Like half inch, man. That's not ideal to run the cables through that kind of a hole. So at least it was 6 centimeters thick, the entire shelf per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a 3/4 inch hole in there just to make sure that I don't fuck up the cable as it is being pulled, right? Because it's all laminate or not laminate, but the what's it called?
The compressed wood
It's
fiber.
compressed wood, yeah. It's like compressed fiber, and it's sharp on the wire sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So and then like do a little half-inch hole on the top of the shelf, cut the power cord end, right? Uh, I always use tape because then it doesn't splinter the wood. I'm sure that people in the woodworking industry would appreciate that.
Also,
And
if you ever cut wood, cut from the side
that you don't look
that's not the top, and put tape down. Then you never have weird splinters and stuff
exactly. So
along the whole line.
so yeah, that was the whole drilling, right? Blah blah blah. No, it wasn't MDF. It was literally like that compressed board, like
Particle board.
fucking particle
Yeah.
board, sawdust and shit, like more or less like IKEA-ish type with the laminate, or what is it, laminate that's called on top, or
Uh,
the veneer. Sorry,
yeah.
veneered. Yeah, it's veneered, but the veneer sometimes becomes very sharp when you're pulling Cat sevens. So yeah, that's why. And also, never fucking remove the tape till all that is done and you're ready to just tuck it in, and that's it. Don't because if you start yanking on wire, sometimes that cable can just snag just enough to and pull a little toothpick out.
And then you get a
And no, not even the buzz, but like sometimes you can just break the where the hole is, right? The laminate, whatever. And yeah. So and yeah, the fishing was not fun. I think I forgot to take a picture of it, but the fishing that cable was not fun at all. That's why like the hole is lit up because I have a light inside there.
There's quite a lot of space under the cabinet.
It's about I don't know, 6 centimeters, 6 to 7 centimeters, 3 inches. And yeah, so then you just yank through all that, make sure that nothing gets splintered, and then fish the cable through the little mini hole. Or see, the funny thing is that with the power cord, you have to go down into the shelf and out and down into the thing and then back out from underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Where with the Cat 7, you're going from underneath up to that little hole and back up to the freaking half-inch hole, because the plug, the whole point that I could make, this is the smallest hole I could make in order for me to fit 2 wires through it without, making a kink and damaging. And, the OCD was real that day. And also, that's one of those clients that, when they fuck around with the tape measure, right? That okay, like she knows and whatever. And so I really give credit to the designer that they designed this the way that they did, with the hidden space in the shelf, and so you're able to do that. But it's not a new trickery or anything, because that's how usually you inset the LEDs, which happens to be above on the other shelf above it, right? So that's how the wiring was done. By the way, the wiring for the LEDs were absolutely, I had to turn them off, man. It was all flashing and shit. I'm like, bro, I can't work like that, man. So it was a headlamp and those little Milwaukee Rovers that I have. They're really good lights, really, really good. So, and yeah, this is finally trimming the cable, which it's not the most uncomfortable one to do, but it's not fun to do it within the small enclosed space like that.
Because you can't even do that. It's all
you're all like, doing the Trump thing, right? So it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, and I already had everything like perfectly fit in tight, put the stand on, see how much wire I need, because that's another thing that I forgot to take a measurement of it, how far up the Cat 7 goes in order for it to be comfortably seated in there. But I think this is the distance. I would say it's about 5.5 inches from the hole to the plug.
So 15 centimeters, more or less,
to go around, so you don't have any extra and bending, and it doesn't fight those magnetic back covers and so on. So, so yeah, that's where it was almost getting to completion. And then I put one speaker up. I think, yeah, this is where I actually, obviously you test your cables before you do anything, because you never know. And especially pulling through these kind of tight spaces and weird bends, you never know if that thing can just,
bends.
Kinks, bends, the shielding cuts into the insulation of one of the cables, and then issues become real. But yeah, it was a very, very pleasurable job to do, and I was alone by myself doing it. So not that I took my time, but you have to take your time when you're doing this. You can't rush this, because you fuck this up only once, and then they need to either redo the shelf or remake the shelf, right? Who pays for that? Now it's a fucking week or so, blah, blah, blah. Depends on how the woodworking is good or available and so on. And then, yeah, you just test the cables with the trusted little client tools. This is the only thing that I wish that Milwaukee introduced into the portfolio, is a proper network tester, because they don't have one. They have a whole bunch of stuff for like high voltage and low voltage, and the pen sniffers, so you don't zap yourself when you're fucking around with the plugs. But they don't got that, and I really it's one of the very few yellow things in my bloody backpack, and I wish for a red one to come.
I actually spoke to them about this, and one of the things, they are looking at it, but Klein Tools is so specialized in it, it's almost to the point of like, are we going to compete with them? And they're asking themselves, like, and
that's understandable. It's Klein Tools and Fluke, right? Those two companies, they have it locked down hard, man.
I mean, it's like you're taking on a giant that has a very niche
market,
but also very niche expertise in something. So, like,
yeah, but
what do you do? Are you just
going to?
Well, it comes down to like, are you just going to hire all the people away from them, right? And how much?
Yeah, I know, but my disagreement with the statement, it's a niche market. It is a niche market, but I don't think it's as niche as it used to be, let's say 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. The network infrastructure now is much more important. And to me, it's second to plumbing and electricity in the house. Because if your network goes down, if you're somewhere in the woods, your network goes down, you can't really call for shit. because you don't have online. So
Yeah,
this
you
is
can't even look at your YouTube video, see how to fix it.
yeah. So here's the thing that I contemplated, but I didn't do it, and I could have done it because there are security screws on the table stand itself.
Mm.
So to make it completely immovable, but I figured it makes more sense to do it that way because still, God forbid, you got to power cycle it. There's still enough room to turn it around, and you can yin yang the cable out and do it, because the wires that are going to be, or they are there, it's all plugged into this bank of uh, plugs that are in the bottom, where all the LEDs are also triggered from. Not
Mm.
triggered, but I guess they're controlled wirelessly, but they're drawing power off of that, and that's all going to be covered. So I don't really saw any other way to do it. That, because you will have to sometimes hit that fucking rocker switch on a power bar, because it's just what it is.
I guess you can power cycle them at your fuse box.
And I have people that we've done some installations where we had to do it, and I labeled the fuse box on the panel. I'm like, this is the fuse you reboot, because everything is built behind the TV. You want it that way, and that's it. So yeah, I put up the first speaker, and I came up, and I very seriously, I'm like, Miranda, you got a minute? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, we got a little bit of a problem. She's like, oh, what? I'm like, I think you're gonna have to look at it first. So she comes, she's like, what's the problem? I'm like, these look too good in here. And she's like, oh my God, right? But they do. And she's like, oh my God, they look like little trophies.
Well, they kind of do.
Yeah, they have that look. Like, yeah, these are the trophies of the excellence in acoustic and design decision that you could have made. She bought these actually for her husband as a gift. So
Nice.
Very see, that's a very high WAF there, I would say. If the wife buys them, then yeah, I think
Are they by themselves, or are they connected to anything?
They are connected to the BeoConnect core, and unfortunately into a Samsung frame, which looks good on the wall. I didn't take pictures of the entire complete job because it's still tarped off with poly, and it just would look like shit because they still have to change a couple wood panels in there. But they wanted to get this done because obviously the guy travels a lot. He works for a company that he's basically never home. But that few moments that he has in the house, he wanted to enjoy them as soon as possible. But I think the one that's gonna make him sweat hardest is their 26-year-old son, who had left just before. Oh, dude, he was eyeballing that shit all day long. And so, yeah, he was very excited, and I'm sure that they're playing all the time. Here's an interesting thing that I found in the B&O app now. If you go under the settings, here, let me elaborate because it's easier to show it with the shared screen than me blabbering about it. But there has been a wish of mine and yours more or less halfway come true. I'll start sharing that.
Is it the sound info finally?
No.
I'll get them.
I wonder if my portals are going to make it. Fudge, I'm 22%.
Should do.
I think so. Oh, we'll make it a meter today. So, anyways,
that's like
you go to
6 hours or something.
I think I haven't charged them. I don't even remember how many podcasts ago. So we go to our beloved little dude here, and then in the settings, if you go to products, and then you go to edit, you can reorder products or hide product from lists. So now you can hide things that, like Halo, if you don't need to see it on your app. For me, I guess it would be Beolab 18s when you have them with or Beolab 8, when you have them with the BeoConnect core. Mm-hmm. So then only the stereo speaker set shows up on the screen. But I need to unhide that because I'm going to open that up and play. That's going to be the only thing that I have in here now. But it doesn't hide them from the AirPlay window in the in a thingamajigger, in the AirPlay view, right? Because that was the whole point that I was hoping for. So if that actually comes through, because I'm also thinking, where is this? Because where is the AirPlay mode? Fudge, I forget now. I think airplane mode is under actual settings, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I do need to go to the theater here. Where would it be? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank now. I think I was in the wrong product to begin with. Sound, no, it's not going to be here. It's in the main menu, for God's sake, somewhere. Let's go here. Link. No, I was in here. But there is an enable AirPlay. And that, let's see if it's here. It's the same menu, but viewing multi-room, sorry, right here. So I wonder if you disable AirPlay on, let's say, the Beolab 8 and leave it, because my thing is that if I have disabled AirPlay in the theater, let's see if I can re-enable that in shower, because level is offline. What was this?
Viewing multi-room.
So if I enable AirPlay here, is it global or is it per product? That's my question. Because if it's per product, then that really answers my question. It's disabled per product.
Yeah.
Should be. Fucking hey, that's awesome. So because I can disable that.
Yeah, you may like some AirPlay in your living room, but maybe not so much in your bedroom if you, I don't know, have neighbors that share your, or your kids that share your network, right?
No, this is fantastic. So then I can actually hide the Beolab 8's primary, secondary completely from the AirPlay menu. And they can, the software updates work. Actually, the funny thing is, I've tested it. I had a 3.4 whatever it is, current one, versus the beta that is 4.10 whatever. Mm-hmm. And the secondary was still on 3.4 and they still paired.
Good.
So there's so that's no longer an issue. So then the other speaker updated itself, because I left them, like, see what happens. So the other emerge updated itself automatically, and then the next morning they were both the same software, but they never dropped off, or like the incompatibility wasn't there anymore. So that bug is fixed. So good news, people. So yeah, that's all I got for discoveries on our beloved B&O app, as far as the things are so concerned.
I did a discovery, which is the opposite way, is that you through the app cannot turn on radio unless you have it saved under a My button. Oh, weird. Maybe it was mine flaking out then.
But I did come across that in the shop. Not available.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, you're not tripping out. I've seen that in our shop.
God damn it. Why?
I've seen it in the shop, and I've seen it in one of the... where was that?
If you go to the black bar, do you have a selection if you go to sources? If you click down on there, or is... So there's no radio there?
No, because in all the never-ending wisdom, you just go here for radio, right? As a source, because that's on the main page of the app. And there's your Deezers.
Yeah, but you better be damn sure that at the bottom left you're in the correct product then.
Yes. You know what I would like to request for is, let's talk about source selection here. Because if we go to sources and let's go source behavior from for music, right? Mm-hmm. You have a title and you have the Tidal Connect. So B&O Tidal, that's the native app. Tidal Connect is the Tidal Connect, like Spotify Connect. We all know what we're talking about. But if you go to source behavior, reorder music list, which these are the ones that appear on the B&O remote.
Yeah.
You no longer have that list. So you cannot fucking put Deezer here. I mean, Tidal. It's only Deezer. I no longer have Deezer. Go away.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's probably on a back burner somewhere.
Well, they need to put that back on the stove hard, man, because it's not even on the Halo remote. And if we're going to Tidal, which I completely understand, respect, and appreciate, because it does sound better. Coincidentally, it actually sounds the higher end sounds better in my car than Deezer did, because Deezer for some reason like it just developed this crackling, like it just couldn't resolve, or there was not enough data or whatever. But Tidal sounds much better, and it sounds better through the app of BNO than itself. I don't know if that's just placebo,
Could
but
also be a Deezer setting because quite often the default is data saver when you're on mobile internet.
oh, dude, I had all that shit full kimono open up, man. I all that high. I don't care. It's the same thing in Tidal. Download the high quality through the Wi-Fi and through the 3G, 5G, whatever I'm on. Don't care. I have 100 gigs of data I'll never burn.
Yeah.
Most of the data I burn is on fucking Google Maps driving to people's houses, right? Once I get to the place, I take their Wi-Fi because I need to be on their network in order to set their shit up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always on the online. I would love to see the laundry list of network that this phone has been to, man. So yeah, guys, we need the Tidal source, please, BNO. We need to put the source into the BNO remote because this is terrible.
Yeah, I
have to
don't use
go.
Tidal, but it would be nice if you have a playlist that you can just save it under a My button for Tidal.
Yeah, and
Because
that's
that's what
another
I
thing.
do for
Like,
Deezer.
let's go. Can I do that with the long press? Okay, so and here you can pick Tidal under
Huh.
my buttons. Call this. But I only have three, whatever these playlists. I don't even know what they are because I haven't done anything with Tidal.
Atmosphere speech? That's a...
Yeah. Oh, because it was set to kitchen or lounge. That was my last preset. So when you go to do a My Button atmosphere and stuff, it'll load off of whatever was the last, if the TV's off or whatever the TV's currently on. So obviously this would go to direct and Sofa Music. But I'm not gonna change that.
Yeah, the B&O app is getting a lot better, but we're not there yet.
Oh, I fucked it. I think it's totally turning on Tidal. It says YouTube. But the stand, okay. Because I did fuck it. The stand, that's why this should be in speech, because that was my button, and it should be lounge. That's it. So when I turn YouTube's, it goes where it's supposed to. Okay, cool. Never mind. Everybody calm down. Let's turn it off. 5, 6. So yeah, that's one thing that, yeah, guys, you need to put the Deezer. I mean, fuck the Deezer guy. The Tidal. Put the Tidal, please, back on or on. It's not even back on. Just put it on.
Yeah,
Because
let it
it'd
be
be
remote
nice.
controlled.
Yeah, I would like to just turn it on, just like Deezer, on even on the Beo remote, or not Beo remote, but the Halo as well. Because as much as it's undersold of an understated remote, I do use it more often now than I ever thought I would. But it's mounted conveniently on the wall right by the kitchen, so I can just turn around and turn things back and forth. But
Same,
mostly,
mine is in my kitchen, so whatever is playing, it's just like, oh,
yeah,
loud.
yeah. And even if your hands are wet, like you still have that, that you can just wipe the pinky and go on the bottom of the wheel so you don't get the shit running down it. But yeah, man, it's a great remote, and quite honestly, the biggest purpose that thing serves is metadata from radio stations and music, because there is nothing that B&O currently has that displays it unless you own a Harmony, and then it's burning the top panel of yours with album art.
Wow, burning.
Well, for me, it would be, because I'd be back in Calgary. I was listening to the radio 24 hours a day, more or less.
Yeah, but it goes away after like 20 seconds.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I never made it that far. I always switch songs. So. But
like even your radio station goes away after like 20, 30 seconds or something.
So where did the super chat go? I don't know.
That's a me/YouTube thing because of moving, which is not resolved yet.
Oh, pending decision.
Yeah, and it's moving across several countries and internationally, Google and stuff goes a bit like, hey, what's going on?
You're a
Because
terrorist now.
no, because Google is not one company, right? So for Europe, Google is set in Ireland.
Oi,
So
I'm making a coffee. Fuck, I forgot all about
so
it.
Google Ireland is not willing to pay to here, and you have to change a bunch of stuff. And I have to change a bunch of stuff, and I'm not fully ready with all that. And whilst I have very much appreciated all the super chats, it's sort of like this is more headache than it actually solves for me.
Yeah, money isn't everything, I guess, eh?
Well, if somebody from abroad gives you $5 through Google, right? Like you're spending more than $5 on like your accountant person doing shit.
Exactly.
So it's sort of like it kind of went where it went, and it's sort of like, well, it's fine. Like let it be free. If I guess we can set up buy me a coffee at some point or something, or you can, or like we can create a Willy fund.
Yeah, and then what? Then I'll move to Florida. I'll be fucked over here with this Trudeau chasing me for the $17 we make. Fuck that. No, no, I'm all right. We can buy us lunch when we get together some one day.
So it's that it's and I think actually Google sort of hates us more algorithmically when you create more work than you bring in. Like if you're like some, I don't know, some sort of PewDiePie, Mr. Beast type of person, right? They'll bend over backwards because, like, if they have to spend $100,000 on like accountants for you, like they get a few million every year, so they don't care.
Yeah, it's nothing. Operational cost.
But if their operational cost is higher than what you actually bring in, they sort of go, "What?
We don't like you."
Also, another thing that I, as a creator, found really annoying. If that's on, you guys get like automated ads through live streams.
Oh,
which
fuck
is
that.
Yeah, which is kind of annoying. Because
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't know if anybody's been or is in the US or how it is in Europe right now. But now you get the skip button like you do for ads, right? And if you skip it, it skips to the next ad.
Oh, so you're still getting hosed.
Yeah. And also, I see it on the TV quite often. If you you now get a counter for the amount of time of ad you get. And you can skip it after a few seconds, but you just go into a new ad until that counter counts down. So you can skip the second ad again, but you'll just go into a different ad.
Till the time runs out.
Yeah.
But that's not, like, I don't have that because I have YouTube Premium.
Exactly.
So I just walk on this, my friend. That's it.
Yeah, it's so it's become TV, and so if I don't monetize any of this shit, like you guys have a much better experience.
That's true. And quite honestly, if we were to be doing this for money, I don't think that this podcast would have lasted past 20 episodes.
No.
No fucking way. That this is done from just a pure sheer love for the product and the community and helping everybody out. That's all there is.
Actually, I think that's doing quite well because they're on the verge of selling out these beauties.
Yeah, we've sold a few pairs for sure. But it's weird, and I don't know why, but Quebec's on, like, we sell a lot of headphones, but maybe I don't see it, right? Because that's not something that you bring to a fucking install. Like, you're not installing headphones. Like, if you do, like, what is that?
If anything, you install them in store, right? If somebody needs help with that.
That's it. Or, change batteries in them. That's basically it, but not. Yeah, it's something that we never really see. And there's corporate deals where they sell a 30, H95s to a company for like a thank you, right? Usually that happens a lot before Christmas, where bonuses and such come across.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Like we still have a few downstairs, but they're selling. They're definitely selling.
Well, there's a shit ton of orders online, obviously, because for something like this, I'm not 100% sure it matters. Also, the crowd that buys headphones is quite different than the speaker buying crowd.
Oh, by a
I mean,
long shot.
there is some overlap, but
Not much. People that spend that much money on the headphones, they tend to just mostly connoisseur headphones.
yeah. And
Where
they
for
usually
me,
have several high-end headphones. I somehow ended up with a bunch of them, but it wasn't my intention.
same here. Like I said, for me, I guess it's the work of the trade, right? Like you just end up doing that. It's a good deal on that, or this is getting discontinued. Fuck, I'll buy it. Whatever.
I also want to thank everybody that used the link in the review video I used, because the first 5 or 6 were sold in like 36 hours. So everybody got one of those bottles that came in that with it.
Nice.
And I think my dealer was actually such a chud that he did it until his bottles ran out. So I said the first 5 will get a bottle. I think actually it turns out that it was more.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you gonna do with the bottles? It's just it means a lot.
The
more to
missus
people than
immediately
yeah.
took it. It's like, this is mine now. It's like, oh, okay.
Was it the logo or was it the color?
I think both.
But yeah, I have one of those. For me, it's just a nice paraphernalia. I wish they came back with pens. Honestly, I wish they introduced like a little pen thing for.
I wish they would make that sort of thing for sale.
Well,
Because
that's it.
currently it's kind of relationship products, right? Like where they tell a dealer, like, you're going to buy this amount of this thing and this is the price. And it's not optional.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like, okay. But then there's other people that go like, I want one. But it's like, but you're like a pleb or something. And it's like, you can't get it. It's like, but I'll pay $20-$30 for that bottle.
Yeah.
Just like the miniatures, right? Like, those were all gifts, if I'm not mistaken, at the time.
I think those were either that, but they were also part of the BeoLink multi-room experience. Do you know the little acrylic house model that they had? Those were scaled for that.
Yeah.
With the 5s, the BeoCenter 2, the 6000s, 8000s. I think BeoLab 2000 was there, BeoCenter 2, and a BB5.
Matt says he needs a 19.
It's like, yeah, 19 is a good subwoofer.
Les also said, do a comparison between Tidal Deezer when you get your 90s back.
Oh, of course I will. I'll probably keep my subscription. I don't know when I'm going to unpack the 90s because my girlfriend's going to Mexico, I think 2nd or 3rd week of October. So I'm going to be cat sitting, and I don't want her to come back to the cat being a fucking doormat, because if she scratches the speakers, I will kaputski. So I'm going to keep him in the box.
And you go,
what do you mean? I'm like, you bitch. I don't even know how much these cost since I bought them. As far as the white grills, probably another 20 grand of damage that would have been if she goes up both speakers.
Yeah, but she's probably not going all the way on top, so you only need to buy a few panels, right?
Yeah, hopefully the bottom ones, but no, hopefully none. So
get them in quadrat so you don't see the ruffles.
Fuck. I'm gonna definitely keep them in the box until she comes back and the cat leaves the apartment.
Max asks, will we ever get another B&O subwoofer? I'm not entirely sure on that, because I think they'll just keep the 19 for now for a long time.
I think if they release a subwoofer, I think it'll be Mozart based. Just touching on Sandeep's comment with the the BeoLink surround that's coming out. I think that they're completely moving away from Weisa because it's becoming unmanageable in the large installations, and also you can probably be better off. And I don't know if that's going to be fully networkable or it's something that like the theater will have its own broadcast Wi-Fi thing, then there's a range limitations. Or if it would run everything on the, say, let's say you just make a BeoLink surround subnet on your net, and all the speakers run that communication platform
With the
through a
switch of
hardwire.
the theater on the back potentially.
Or there may be that they become a power link output essentially, or
Yeah,
a digital power link.
I just wonder if something like the BeoConnect core, right, has enough power to do 5.1.
Processing wise,
Yeah. Or
well,
just
it's the
channel
same chip,
allocation wise, sort of
but
thing,
it's the
right?
same chip as it's in a theater. Like the Mozart platform is identical, more or less.
Yeah.
That chip does the surround, does the entire true image, does the whole bit, including the DAC of it, right? So I don't think, for me, I think the capability would be a limitation of how much heat can that thing take, because now it's fully aluminum block. So they do anticipate some cookage from that, I think. If you're going to start running, maybe you can probably, could it be the same limitation that you can do 7.1 or 7.2.4 or 7.1.4?
I would have a feeling they're going to artificially limit it regardless, because otherwise, like,
Bandwidth problems or
or
speed.
just theater sale problems.
Well, yeah, because that kind of is. I don't think they're shooting themselves in the foot. I think that, see, like if you buy a theater and let's say you go cheap and you put 4 emerges with it, I think there's enough balls in the theater with the small room that the emerges would they're just effect speakers, right?
Yeah.
It's basically, I don't want to sound degrading, but it's like buying a theater kit in the box, right?
Yeah.
Where you get the sub that's powered and has all these, center, fronts, and rears connections, and that's it. But it's going to be done through Weisa, wireless network, or through their BeoLink surround, as they call it now.
Which still isn't up on the website anywhere, even though it was announced it was Cedia or whatever it was.
Yeah.
For more information, go on the website, and the website is like, oh, nothing to see here.
How typical. But interestingly enough, I saw in the Discord people posted the screenshot of they got a beta software update, even though they're not enrolled in the beta program.
It's a bit of a mess at the moment. No.
I have that version of beta, and for some reason, I don't have the ability to link stuff. So maybe there's another beta or alpha that I'm missing. But even though I'm in the beta program, I unfortunately can't test it, even though I'm completely ready for it. Hey, BeoTalk. So I'm waiting, BNO, and you send me an email that you're going to put me on the alpha test. I don't know what that means, but well, it doesn't matter as of this afternoon because the theater is going to be offline reporting on the product health center tool offline since 1700 hours Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to wait till I get to the new place.
But will we get another subwoofer? I don't know. I have a feeling this is also partially their way of pushing you to get 50s, 90s anyway.
Yeah, but that's insane idea and proposition. But I guess they're going for the very high net worth.
But they're going for the people that don't care about that sort of money.
Yeah, but you know what? We know a lot of people that are very wealthy, but they just don't have. They don't see the value of spending that much money in the audio system per se. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like to him, if I gotta spend $200,000 on a set of speakers, okay, let's call it 300 with the surround and the floor stand per se and a fucking thing, right? Or do I just spend 50 grand, buy theater, a couple lab 8s, maybe a sub, and then I'll buy myself that 911 that I can add to my garage, to my collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Argument is what you're gonna enjoy more, the car or one of the 20 you have, or the speaker system that you can actually listen to in the middle of the winter when you are not going to take that car on the road just by default of how much salt and shit's on the road.
I also think it's quite personal.
And it's very personal, yeah. So, to me, like I have clients that could not understand the fact that I had spent so much money on buying a set of speakers. Like you could have bought a down payment for a house. I've tried to put a down payment for a house, but in Canada, you're just not going to own one, and that's just it. So I bought the second best thing, bought the speakers to annoy the neighbors with. So that's if they're gonna come up with a subwoofer, I guarantee you it's gonna be Mozart platform driven. And to me, you know what? Like if they reintroduce the BeoSound Edge as a subwoofer with a Mozart in it, that would not be a bad idea because that thing can woof pretty good. Or yeah, if Stefan says buy a Porsche with the B&O speakers in them. I didn't know that Porsche actually now comes with the Bang & Olufsen speakers in them. Or they still just have Bose and Harman Kardon. I don't remember.
Bose, I
I don't.
think.
I think they're Bose. I don't think that B&O has
I mean,
anything to do
Porsche
with
people are like,
Porsche.
my engine is so perfect. I just want to hear my engine, so like I don't need any tunes.
Which, you know what? I agree with that. But that's only within the city when you go stop and go, and you can actually enjoy that. But if you're on a 3-hour drive with 3,500 RPM stuck in the back of the muffler,
Yeah.
and the constant it sucks the fun out of comfort. I've been there. I've never been into these potato gun muffler mods and shit, but all my friends in high school did. And yeah, when we drove to Crow's Nest Pass to go camping, bro, 2 Advils just before I even got to the goddamn campsite because it was just the whole 3 hours drive. And yeah, it's not fun.
My dad used to have a car that Top Gear deemed as one of the worst cars in like history, and it was a Lexus SC430.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a convertible sort of sports car.
Okay.
By Lexus, so it's like old man territory, right? But it's not. It's kind of stiff and has run flats, so like it drives kind of strange.
In case you roll that curb on the Walmart.
Anyway, it has a V8, but you do not hear it when you start it. It's
weird.
But the thing is, it was actually lovely to own because we did like road trips to like the south of France with 2 people. It actually fit a decent amount of stuff, but you could be doing like 200 kph on the French motorway, right? And it's quiet. Like like when you floor it, you sort of hear like, but like at that sort of level, right? So you could cruise at ridiculous speeds for a long time, and you don't have ears bleeding. You had what's that? Lexus has that Mark Levinson sound system. It's fucking amazing.
Mm.
So like, there's something to be said for cars that are like not ear shattering all the time.
Yeah.
And also it's essentially a Toyota, right? So like nothing ever breaks.
No, that'll outlive everything. How much of a difference is there in treble between Beolab 18 and 28, and how does the bass compare to the 19? It doesn't compare to the 19 because...
Well, it does to a degree.
To a degree, but if you're going to start juicing it, it doesn't. And I find the Beolab 28s have a little bit of a 30-ish bass, just like the 5s, because it's a down-firing woofer.
Again, like you said last week, and like everybody should know, it depends on your floor. And if you have a suspended floor or nothing solid, right? Like when it's not solid, it'll get absorbed. What gets absorbed, you do not hear. So if it gets reflected, that's the proper way of getting the most out of it. So if you have like tiles or concrete floor or something like that, you get way more bass output. The 28s go down to 28 hertz, if I'm from memory. 29, 27, something like that. The 19 will happily start at 20. So you do get a bit of a bass boost if you add a 19 to 28. Personally, in terms of style, like I personally like this setup more. Though, if you're limited on space, this is kind of a weird thing to place.
It is. It's a bit awkward, but it looks nice still.
And then you get into the, like, where is the optimal placement for bass and that sort of thing. And it may need to sit somewhere where you absolutely do not want it. So Another thing is 28s have sources built in, which like 18s and 19s don't.
That's right.
So you need something to drive it. The
28s are
treble,
much more precise on treble for sure.
but they're also softer and don't have the acoustic lens, so they have a very different sound signature.
Yes.
Whereas like the 28s have a wide and narrow mode, and it's quite significant, and it can be sort of like zooming in on where you're sitting. The 18s will never do that because it's always wide.
That's right. That's the only option mode they have. So
I personally think between the two, it's preference. If you're on like if you have one budget, you need to figure out what source you want to use. If you want to use a BeoConnect core, I would say it's suboptimal for this setup.
mm-hmm.
BeoTool says 28 hertz. Can it play loud at that frequency? Yeah, it goes to like 88, 90-ish dB from memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's at a meter, right? So there's a lot of things that depend on what's in your room, what floor is it on, if that'll seem loud or not.
Andrew sold his 28s today. Right on, buddy. Congrats.
I mean,
what are you replacing them with?
The 19 will pump a lot harder. Also, it's a much bigger driver, right? Like this is 2 times 8 inches versus 2 like 6.5.
Yes.
And somebody said it on the Discord. Like it's just like engines. There's no replacement for displacement.
No,
I mean,
there's not.
You can make a shit ton of bass with a 4-inch driver, but it'll sound like a 4-inch driver doing a lot of deep bass.
Yep.
I mean, you can go very impressive, but if you care for like the first question was the treble difference. Personally, I would say if you go on the sort of EQ curve, the 28s are a lot flatter and softer, but they're also firing at you. So there's a difference. They're much more comparable to 17s, I would say. Whereas the 18 is sort of flat and then goes up at the end. They're a bit more the old signature of B&O. Which is like it can be pleasant or it's not, but it's personal. I personally find the old sound signature a bit nicer.
On what? On the 19?
No, on 18s versus like it's it's the Mozart pre-Mozart sound signature, right?
Yes.
It's God, it's a preference, and it depends on what you listen to. I mean, technically speaking, the 28s are a better speaker. There's no doubt about it. It's just like this is a bigger 3-way setup than the 28s are. Don't listen to Stefan. He has weird ears.
That's it. So Sheila's asking, why is the room compensating setting my Beolab 20s to -4 dBs? I have theater and 420s. I cannot really explain how that room compensation nonsense really works with the bass redirection. But the only thing that I do harvest out of that entire microphone exercise are the distances. And that's it. And then I take my own decibel meter and I put it where the microphone was. And I go to the speaker settings. I put it to, by volume, you increase the center channel to 65 or 70 dBs. Depends on your noise in the room or white noise level in the room. I like it at 75 because that tends to drown out even like when you get an occasional dog run across the room with the tick 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 of the paws and shit on the hardwood. And then I tuned all the speakers towards that number, including the side and up firing, which I think that those ones are the ones that start to limit the performance of the theater because they are the weakest link in the system. And then after that, I go through the redirection levels on each speaker and I upped them by the exact same dB number on all 4. So if you wanted to go, which I would recommend, is to go to 0 dBs redirection. There's no point to be in the negative numbers, and check your center channel. I mean, the bass, the left and right bass woofer on the theater will probably be at negative 19 dB. I would maybe put them to negative 10. After that, I think it starts to go a little too harsh. And yeah, that's what I would try. But I find that the exercise of the microphone deal, it's almost the same as believing that aspirin will cure cancer. It's not going to help. I find that it's for the measurements, it is down to the centimeter, but when it comes to the room comp, and I know that there is if it's not happy with it, you should move the microphone either further or more backwards, right, to do rereading because of the bass resonances in your room, how your room behaves, and so on and so forth.
Quite honestly, I have a feeling that redirection level isn't actually what it says it is for only that. Like, it does affect the redirection, but I also have a feeling it's a knob that combats standing waves and stuff like that.
It could be.
I have a feeling there's more going on than just simply redirection.
I wish there was a video that Jeff Martin would do and explain that, because it's so new and it's so alien to all of us. Like, I'm a technician for B&O, and I still struggle to explain it, even owning one for 2 years and playing with these redirection levels. And man, I've installed over 100 theaters by now, and every room is different. Every speaker system setup is different. You know, some theaters come to the old speakers, like the legacy lap 5s or 3s, usually 4,000s on occasion, a lot of 8,000s, 18s. So yeah, it's every system's different, and it's really hard to find that ease of consistency that used to be before, like in the David Lewis era, when shit was tuned but dumb, right? Like there's
it just was a switch, like 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. There's just too many ingredients now in the pantry for you to cook with, and it's like, well, you can cook that or you can cook that, right? Where you just had one meal that came with the, let's say, Beolab 8000s or 5s, right? But I wish that redirection levels were more explained, and I understand that they're explained in a very scientific language in the acoustics guide or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish that there was some sort of a tangible explanation to it that I guess a simpleton like me would be able to understand. Because it's weird how and why was it on the old True Image that you had redirection either 100 or 100 negative or 100 positive, right?
That still works like that, but so.
But why can you go to like negative 100 dBs but only to plus 6 dBs? Shouldn't that be a percentage slider at that point?
No, because it's two measurements now. Because it knows what is attached, so it knows the maximum output. So the crossover frequency is irrelevant if whatever is attached can do the hertz and dB requested.
Okay.
Which is two things, right? So if it's asking for, let's say, I don't know, take 18s. So let's say it's asking an 18 to do 40 hertz at 80 dB, something like that, and you have 50s up front. Mm-hmm. The 18 will do that. So that cross slider does nothing. It's not affected because the 18 will just do that, even though it's set at, let's say, 100. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the old system, if it was set at 100, the 18 wouldn't do that because whatever is under 100 would go to the 50 anyway. So so now, if it's asking an 18 to do 40 hertz at 100 dB, it'll do 40 hertz up and to the point it can, which I think is 86 or something, 82, whatever it is. And then anything above that will be redirected to the 50. Now, if it's asking an 18 to do 20 hertz at any dB, all of that will be sent to the 50 because it can't do any of it.
Yeah.
So it's the two measurements, right? Like, so the crossover is affected by the maximum output of the speaker. It knows that's attached to it, but it's also the frequency it can do it at.
I still find it convoluted as shit.
It is, but it's better technically. But it's like you should now actually have two crossover sliders effectively, one for loudness and one for the hertz. Because effectively you're saying, like, I want to cap, let's say, an 18 at maximum 80 dB, because after that it goes wild, and anything over 80 dB needs to go to a 50. But you also need to cap the frequency limit at the bottom end.
So what's the crossover for?
It's kind of the same thing. It's a slider with two.
120, but that's crossover in the main settings is set to 120 hertz, right?
Yeah, but it's more important for that to be there when you have, let's say, like Stefan has with an old 18 setup with a subwoofer.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have a subwoofer, it becomes slightly different again. So,
well, yeah, because all that bass is thrown overboard, or it goes into the theater only. That's it.
Yeah. But if you have 50s, it all gets thrown to 50s or 90s, right?
Yes.
So
I'm so very much intrigued about setting the 90s. It's a dirty dog shit shame, but we do not have the 90s set up on the theater. We have the 50s set up on the theater, but 90s are with the 83-inch harmony. So it's not like, we have a freaking V132 running the 90s. But I still have not heard, other than one client, but this was very, very early stages of the B&O software in the theater. Like, we're talking a year and a half ago, when he bought the theater and we tied it in with his 50s. And it sounded good. Not great, it sounded good, but also the room was terrible. And then we moved them again and I set it up and that room was okay. They sounded really good there. But again, it was before they figured out the 2.0 PCM nonsense that they had an issue with. And there was some certain things, and I forget which software version it was, because there's been now 21 software releases since the theater has been announced. And I forget which one it was that they changed the something within that you had to retune the system in order to benefit from it properly, like basically factory reset the thing. I forget how many episodes ago we've done that, but I haven't been there since.
Yeah.
So that would be something that I'd be very interested in, and especially like now, obviously in my apartment, once I set the 90s up, it's not going to be that I'm just going to blow the windows off, but I'm really interested. Not the first week. Not the first week. Not the first week.
I have a feeling, because of the demos I had with the theaters and 90s, that you can definitely make your windows potentially
rattle
crack.
Good. Yeah, it's a shit show, man.
Because I sat like 5 meters away and it was like,
oh yeah, no, the shit will move.
Yeah, but on you, right? Like my shirt was literally doing that.
Yeah.
And this is not solid, so anything that's flexible that doesn't let air through.
Oh man, I remember in my old apartment watching the walls breathe sometimes.
But yeah, coming back to the sliders, right? With a harmony, eclipse, or whatever, like anything under 100, 120 hertz, whatever you set it at, would just go to the biggest thing there was. And even if you had, I don't know, like let's say you had a harmony with 4 18s and a 19, like anything under 120 hertz would never even be played by the 18s. And you're kind of kneecapping your 18. So you can easily drop that slider down to like 80, because your 18 still sound good at 80 hertz.
Yeah, I hover mine at 95 hertz with the subwoofer when I usually do the installations. 95 to 90 hertz is where I slide it down to.
So I mean, it's such a convoluted thing. Maybe I should do a video in and of itself on it, but I have the feeling that the thing we get projected in the app with the sliders, right? It cannot be the only thing it affects. It cannot only be the redirection. Because also in the
No,
harmony, you had redirection levels.
that's right.
But that was much more plain forward. Like, whatever, like anything below this, how much of that goes where? And now it's like, it sort of matters if these parameters are met, but not above and this parameter, but this other parameter is still good. So it gets really fucking strange. And there's a lot more math going on. And I think they're just also trying to not make us look like, what the hell is all this?
Yeah, I wish it was a little more automated. Like, I understand that it's smart and everything, and they're harvesting the technology that they had implemented and developed for BLab 90s when it comes to the room compensation or active room compensation. But one would think that by now it would be way more automated from them. You know what I mean? It those sliders and everything. It's not that it's just confusing. It's downright dangerous because I have clients that are curious, right? And I know which ones they are because you can tell when you're doing the install, like, oh, this guy's gonna fuck with that. So I always tell them you need to make a duplicate copy of your speaker preset, because if you don't and you fuck this, there's no way to fix that other than either factory reset so you can get your defaults back, plug in the microphone and start playing with it again. Where if you have a copy, then you just messed up the copy and you can delete the copy and make a new one again.
Yeah.
But I've had few service calls that, you know, the client went on an exploratory venture in the redirection land and just fucked the system, right? Oh my god, it sounded worse than a Bose Acoustimass module. I've had one.
Yeah. Sushil says, just won't be the best sound possible. All settings are too complex. I just want to know what to set the crossover to if I have a theater in 420s. Default is 120. If anything, I would just set the redirection levels to 0. Because...
slide the crossover to 20 hertz, man, and give it a listen. You'll see what happens. You can't break anything.
I mean, in that setup, since you have 4 equals on all corners, right, it's almost less important what the crossover is set at if there's no redirection going on. Because the BLab 20s go down to 20 hertz and they kind of sound like a 19, but you'll have a 19 in every corner.
Yes.
So that's what I would do first. And like the crossover is, it'll only really affect the theater, but that also goes to 28 hertz or so. So you're talking about the bottom 8 hertz that are affected by that crossover.
Also, an important note to say is, are you using true image or are you in a direct mode? Because if you do direct, then the last 4 sliders, the surround, the envelopment, the soundstage, and height are no longer applicable if you're in the direct mode, where you can mess with the soundstage. Stage width affects quite a bit of how the mid-range comes out of the center, and higher the number you go, the less sharp it'll get. It'll dilute the vocals more or less more into the, how would you say, it spreads it a little bit wider than when if you put it to fucking 0 or 1, it collapses everything to just a mid-range and a coaxial tweeter, and it's really sharp. So if you have a problem with the sound in that way, that's A. B, are you consuming Dolby Atmos or are you consuming surround? Because you should have, unfortunately, 2 different listening presets for that with according speaker roles. And I'm not going to go through these speaker roles and such here. You can join the Discord and go to the documentation tab, and it's one of the first documents. You can read through it and set your theater up that way. And I think we'll gain a member, and you'll be part of a very good community, because a lot of these questions that you are asking, there's some that has been already answered, but there's a lot more constructive feedback there, because people, you're gathering opinions from others that have, it's a plethora of system combination varieties on Discord. So I highly recommend you pop in there and look where you're at.
Yeah. It's God, it's gotten complicated. You can get there, but you have to be willing to play around
be ready, like,
Yeah.
if at least the bottle of wine, fuck, it's a lot to play with, and once you start understanding it, then the problem is with that the rabbit hole doesn't get shallower. It's just you just now go into more exploratory ventures with the sound, because okay, now you tweaked your Atmos, then you're gonna tweak your surround, now you're gonna start fucking around with the stereo, then you're gonna go to quadraphonic mode, because why not? You get 420s in there, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And at some point you will hit the rock bottom of that rabbit hole where your understanding of all of it will be complete, but it takes a while, and it's really hard to explain it, because
Oh,
a
even on
lot
the
of this.
harmony, it took a good hour, 2 or 3, to get
Yeah,
it
yeah,
properly set up.
it's not that simple, but
Though I
to get
must
it
say, with
tuned.
the harmony out of the box was a lot easier and a lot closer.
Yeah, I think with harmony the pain is to put it together from the box more than the theater. But then the
Oh,
trade-off is in the setup now. Okay, this
yeah.
was easy to put together, but the sliders. So, any idea when the next theater software update is coming?
Soon.
Exactly. I would say, as per the
2 3 weeks.
CES, yeah, it's been 45 days when they announced it, which was about 2 weeks ago. So I would say probably another 2 to 3 weeks before they push it out. I don't know if that BeoLink surround will be enrolled in it, because if it's the same variant of the software that I have, then it's not. Maybe it's not fully baked yet, and they finally learned the fact that, you know what,
You shouldn't
let's make
release
sure.
shit that's beta for the
Yeah, let's
general
make sure that
populace.
the dough is cooked and baked right through the entire loaf of bread before we send it out to eat. And if that's the case, I do not mind waiting another week or a month or whatever. To me, it's, no skin off my back, anyways. And I think the dealers would also welcome that more, because you can still retain a little bit better sales, I guess, with the BLab 8s and whatever. I don't think it'll cannibalize the sales of the 8s and whatnot, but I definitely think it'll impact it a little bit. Because if we set up a decent demo in the store with the theater and a triangle emerges per se, right, just for the shits and
Or
giggles, in a
balances.
small room, or balances. But even if you go with the emerges, balance would be cool. 2 balances in a theater, bro, that'd be sick, because they are capable as shit.
I have space for 2 balances as like. Then I'll
Where
have
in the
a
bedroom,
7.6 system.
for the love of God.
Because I actually can hide those pretty well, as in like wide speakers on the floor. Because I have like a small low cabinet here that's sort of like in the wide position, and I have another cabinet there.
See, and that's the thing, that is the challenge with that BeoLink surround deal per se, that there's really no stand solutions for, let's say, the emerge. There's no stand solution for level. There's no stand solution for balance. So these speakers would have to be placed, or you would have to have certain height furniture around your pad, essentially, that you can afford to have those as surround speakers. It'll be interesting. I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's something that we've been whining about for a while. And you know what? If that's the way that they're going, I think it's a great idea. I think they're going that way more or less because of the Weisa is more or less the Weisa has been around for 12 years as a technology, if not more, prior to development, or B&O
Yeah.
licensing it.
Was
So,
it
but yeah, B&O was the ones that
2012?
standardized it in 2012. Yeah,
September when that came out, or October?
yeah.
CES,
So
I think, with 18s and 17s and 19.
yes, so that's they're they're probably hitting the point where I think with the new Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7, we're starting to encroach into those frequencies that a decade ago were promised to never be reachable by regular consumer electronics.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, as you know, for higher speeds, you got to go higher bandwidth, man. You just need that resonance frequency to go super fast in order to move mountains of data across the fucking air. And yeah, and I think that if that BeoLink surround will work off of the actual network platform, let's say that those 2 extra ports on the Biosound Theater could be used to power up your fronts and the rears, because you'd have to stereo pair the first speakers or those sets of speakers anyhow, then you can get a pretty decent sound out of it. And I think that if they're gonna release anything that as far as the subwoofer is, I think the subwoofer will have a Mozart module in it if they ever decide to do that. But I think the direction that the B&O is taking, the subwoofers are more or less by the wayside of the yesteryears. If you really want the big bass sound, then you buy the 50s, and for all you plebs, get 28s, I guess, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I just, being around the B&O brand for a long time, not just professionally, but as an enthusiast, you can somewhat see the directions that they're going to be going way before they do.
I could almost see them just keeping the 19 as is and making like a little Mozart receiver type unit to PowerLink.
That would be cool. Instead of a Weisa
because that's
receiver.
Probably cheaper to do anyway, right?
And they could still sell it with the older speakers if there is no, like, let's say you have 18s that were Weisa. Well, no, that's a fucked up argument, because maybe, well, if you have a core connect, right, that doesn't have the Weisa modules antennas inside, right, which I think forthcoming products, I don't think they will have it. Let's say they come up with another, like a replacement for the stage where the BeoLink surround will be there. There's no need for them to jam in freaking Weisa antennas in it.
No.
It's just it feels bad for you that you have those speakers now.
Also, the Weisa is kind of a problem with anything Wi-Fi because of the overlapping frequencies and antennas next to it.
We're creeping closer and closer into it too with the bandwidths as well. And yeah, there's not enough room in between, which kind of is like, is it or is it not? Because the Almando box is the size of a BeoLink or BeoSound Essence or the BeoLink BeoLab Transmitter 1, and they have everything inside it. So
yeah, but there's no moving magnets next to it, as in
I guess
coils.
Yeah, inside. yeah, I guess.
Like, I don't know how much it affects that, but I doubt it's zero.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Yeah, Gerald says Weisa is outside of 2.4 and 5 gig. Yeah, well, the 5 gigahertz.
It kind of isn't.
It is and it isn't. Yeah.
What are they called? The DPS channels or whatever? They like the ones you can use in North America. They kind of overlap.
Yeah. It's like you're not standing in the water, but your feet are wet. So.
And you get. Look, you don't really have this issue if you lock your 5 gigahertz net or your channel, right? But if you don't, which most things out of the box do, as in like they're not locked, you get this sweeping effect, and it'll overlap enough for the speaker to go like, "Oh, there was something close. I must get another channel."
Yeah, and especially when you're surrounded with apartment units, that's a completely
then you're
different.
Really like. You gotta ask your neighbors, like, hey, can you set your 5 gigahertz to a singular channel?
They're gonna look at you like, what do you mean? You know what? I gotta say, I've been here for 2 years. I've never had a single drop of the 18s ever. And, well, the whole system here is Ubiquiti. The entire building is running on the Ubiquiti network.
Well, weirdly, there's a bunch of channels that aren't allowed to be used in North America that you can use in Europe. So, but again, this is all like complication on complication.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I'm not saying Weisa is bad. I kind of like Weisa, but it's not without its
limitations
and issues. Like
yes.
It also just has a range issue that like an access point doesn't.
Yeah, we've had a couple installations where like the things got hidden, but the consideration to the wall structure was not considered. Or the thought wasn't given to the wall structure, and the wall structure was fucking stone. So all that entire wall was basically that metal mesh.
Mm.
Forget the transmitter, man. It was a pain.
Advised range is only like 10 or 12 meters.
Yeah,
like with direct line of sight.
Yeah, this was no direct line of sight. So yeah, And also, I guess the lesson is if you have an issue with the Weisa transmitter within the first week of ownership and placement of your speakers, it will never go away.
Yeah.
Unless your neighbor moves or something else outside of outside of your control, because you can set your network to whatever and blah blah blah. You cannot even have a Wi-Fi network; just have everything hardwired. You still have a problem because it's somebody else that is across the wall beaming shite. So
Slightly off topic. Nikolai asked, "Does anyone know why the new Beoplay 800 is only available in apricot sunset? If it's only, then it's the stuff that's left over. Why
it's
launch?
back ordered.
Yeah, why launch it only specialty color in few select stores? Because they didn't think it would sell that much, and
as usual. Is that new? They always, every time, theater, same thing, back ordered for a few weeks. Laminates, back ordered when they came out.
What really, really helped them is something they did not have a hand in at all. It's the Apple's lackluster upgrade to their their AirPods or the over-ear
AirPod Max, yeah, AirPod Max, I guess they're called.
The upgrade they got was from Lightning to USB-C. That's the upgrade.
Yeah. Boo.
So, and I think a lot of people were going like, I may go Apple, understandably, because the price difference is quite huge, right? But then it's like, wait, this is it? Like, no material differences? It's like, nah, never mind.
Yeah, I know. They didn't. I think they shite the bed a little bit.
So I think, was
ahead of it.
Clever in the sense of launch it before Apple and then just going like, Apple, please fuck up for once. Please fuck up. And Apple did.
And they did. Not as bad as Sonos, because Sonos, they took the Olympic gold for that as far as the app and headphones. It's still a disaster, man. We've had a lot of people that switched out of Sonos as clients.
Yeah. I think
they're slowly pushing away.
Currently is surprised at how many people are going for H100s. Also, if you look on eBay and that sort of thing, the market is quite saturated now with secondhand headphones from B&O.
Oh, really? Everybody's dumping them for the 100s.
Yeah. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people, right? More people than they expected it to.
Yeah, but you make a really, really crazy decent headphones. What do you expect people not being interested in for it, right?
Sure, but it's like making 90s, launching them and then going, shit, we've sold out.
They did. They did with the 90s too. They sold out.
I mean, which is both a good and a bad thing, I guess, because like as a customer, you go like, I want it now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we have clients like that. When they call, they're like, okay, so you're installing it this afternoon? What the fuck? No. This takes time, bro. But
so
no, I'm excited about the H100s. I do like the headphones. I don't know if I'll end up with the pair because I'm not a headphone person. I more or less need a fucking microphone thing. Like you have one of those crane arm things. It's only been 316 episodes of me talking through the Bluetooth headphones.
You know what? Once you move, I'll get you one.
Housewarming.
Yeah.
Because
also this is not just regular ANC; it's adaptive ANC, and it
works very well.
I would say it's on par with the best ones, as in the Sonys and stuff. Like it's really fucking good. And I mean, if you have anything playing at all, like even at like 20% volume, you're essentially deaf to the world around you if it's on, if ANC is on.
Oh, with the EX, it's the same thing. I fucking couldn't hear the ambulance drive by me the other day. Just listening to me, I'm like, holy shit, these are good.
Yeah, well, these are even better for like filtering out louder and softer noises and that sort of thing. I mean, they're kind of ridiculous. I mean, the price is high, and I still get that, right? Like, and I still have a weird time looking at it, like, but some people buy a new phone every year, and it's sort of the same price category.
Yeah, and how much of that is replaceable?
But maybe it's also because I'm not a headphone person that I go like, ooh.
No, but it's the same argument. Like some people just can't see how do you perceive value in speakers that are $100,000.
Yeah.
You could have so many more things you could have bought for that money. Well, I bought that. Fuck. That's what I like. You know what I mean? I can't justify like my friends go skiing or snowboarding, right? And it's $1,000 fucking weekend, easy with the lift tickets, the hotel, whatever, right? 1,000, 1,500 bucks just like that, and I don't see value in it, right? But they have a time of their life. Well, same thing here, man. I'll sit here and I'll watch some kick-ass movie and have that pleasure, but in a different way, right?
I may also be the person that's sort of like, I'd rather not go on holiday. I like my house. I'm perfectly happy to have to do nothing and just stay at home.
Same here. My girlfriend thinks it's weird. I'm like, you know what? Just
like my couch is super comfy. I love my bed. I can watch the best things. Like, why do I need to go to the cinema for? Like this.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, that's like, I had the best quarantine ever in my life, right? I just, be careful what you wish for. And since I got to 90s, like, son of a bitch, I wish I could just be locked down with these speakers for a while in here.
Like, pay me, I'll stay home.
Then all of a sudden, March 16th, I'm like, yeah, we're staying home. I'm like, sweet. Drove to the storage locker, picked up 2 boxes of CDs, SPDIF into the back of the 90s. Let's fucking quarantine, bitches. And it was great. It was time of my life, man, listening to all the music that I've grown up with through the 90s to the best sound that you can possibly get. It was a lot of sitting on that Eames chair.
Yeah.
So, but that's how I enjoy it, and that's why I don't really see a point of going out, right? And especially nowadays, right? Yeah, and it's just we go to the movies, and I don't know, the picture quality compared to the screen that I have in the house, it's just not. Yes, it's bigger, boo-hoo, but it's not the same sharpness, the vividness of colors. I can always see the center is always brighter, right? Because it's a projector. It's just the physics of light.
I mean, especially in the US, right? I can buy more cars here for the same price I was used to in Europe. So I could buy an M3 or something. And then I go, do I want to buy new brakes for that thing?
What else? And what else, right?
Do I want to get an oil change every 5,000 miles and the oil change is like $280? It's like, ooh.
That depends where you go. I used to go when my Audi was under warranty, I would always go to the dealer and then
exactly. Do I want to pay the BMW tax on an M product, right?
Well, but that's the thing. I found a very trustworthy guy here in Montreal. I don't go to he's done probably about 15 grand worth of work for $5,000, right? That would have cost me in a dealership, but I got everything. Like, the car is perfect now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ride it till she can't ride no more, because there's no point for me to buy a new car. And I think the new cars are overly smart for what they are.
I don't
want to look into the Audis, and now you'd have a slider switch instead of a shift stick. Like, what kind of buffoonery is that? Might as well put a rainbow flag in my fucking dashboard.
Have you seen any of the other brands? Mercedes, BMW, whatever, they have a line of screen now. It's
ridiculous. It's
like a thin plasma screen type deal. Like this is we're heading towards more colorful Knight Rider territory. It's too much. No.
See, Ed agrees with that. Love to listen to music. I used to when I first bought my Audi, I would always, because I didn't have. Not that I didn't have. I had a B&O sound system, but it didn't sound as good as it did in a tuned enclosure specifically designed, right? Like the car is. And then finally the bloody, when I bought the 90s, I'm like, oh man, okay, the car rides are over. I'm sitting in the house. Fuck.
I mean, I could think of owning a Porsche or something, but then it's like, God, those brakes are $1,500 or something, and the way I would love to drive them, right? It especially with newer models, it's all prison territory, or you're gonna buy new brakes every 2-3 years, and it's ugh. I'd rather have a shit box and floor it everywhere, and then you're going 65, right? This is partially why we bought the Kia, because holy shit, you can go round a tiny corner quickly.
Yeah, but
Like,
do you really need to? I don't drive. I drive like I
no,
have an
no, I
open.
mean, like, parking lots. Like, you can do, like,
Mm.
oh, parking spot, 90.
Oh, it's like a forklift. Fuck yeah, no, that's good for turning radius. That's good because in America it doesn't like you have these big ass trucks that take a huge. It's a Austin Powers
Yeah,
getting into the spot, 7 point turns and stuff. It's weird because in Montreal there is very little pickup trucks. For Alberta, it's a pickup truck culture, right? Like everybody's got a truck.
yeah.
Not here, man. Here it's a lot of these. I cannot stand the new Hyundai design as far as the cars are concerned. Since we're talking about this, they all look like they are built out of it's like Lego City models,
Plastic, yeah.
basically. And the lights are weird. I don't know, man. And these electric ones are just. What I don't understand is like, okay, so there's electric cars that have so many more lights and LEDs and shit around them, right? Doesn't that reduce your range, bro? Why
Yeah,
doesn't
it
why
does.
don't they just put that on the regular gas cars because that can generate its own power to have all these goofy ass LEDs plugged in? Where they put all this nonsense, it's cool, right? It gives you that electric feel, but yeah, but all this shit is just eating off your range.
But I think you need the cool to have the sales.
I think they're running out of cool,
I
and
mean,
people are
it
starting
doesn't
to
make cool
realize.
sounds. It goes, and that's
No,
about
they
it.
sound weird. They sound like fucking UFOs, man, every now and
Yeah.
then. Because walk, ooh, ooh, what is that? Oh, it's fucking Hyundai. Call it is.
There's probably a speaker under the bumper somewhere
Of course there is. There's got
going.
to be something there, and because they make a different sound when they're backing up. They go "Ooh," like higher. What the fuck is going on, man? I
Speaking
don't
of
like it.
design, is there a huge market B&O is missing? Because apparently B&O is partnering with the media or media sisters. No idea who they are, but
Medea. I thought it would have been black. Medea, right? Oh, Medea. But I don't know who these people are.
I mean, Julia and Camilla Venturi, founders of creative directors of It brand Medea. They make culty classic female leather bags.
Okay,
I mean,
that would be something that my girlfriend could probably answer, but not me. I don't know who that
yeah,
is.
no, I understand, but like I guess in modern parlance, right? Like I'm checking my bias
Okay, no,
because, like, to me, B&O is a brand that is mostly male orientated, but with a high wife acceptance factor, right? Uh, but it's not a brand where a lot of women walk in to buy something for
no.
themselves. But I don't know if this is true. This is just how I see them, right? But I'm almost wondering, like, is B&O missing a huge chunk of the market that way, where, like, if all your customers essentially, like, let's say the split is 80-20 male? Or is it just like, are because they both are, like, this is partially an ad, right? But they have H100s.
Hmm.
And the materials are nice, and supposedly they like their leather things and stuff, which
Hmm.
is fine. But I don't know. I don't see a lot of women buying high end headphones, and I don't know why that is. Right? Like, but I have a feeling it's sort of, if I look to my missus, it's sort of like she appreciates what we have, but she never had the interest to get to
Go out
know
and buy
any
it
of it
herself.
until I came.
No, I agree. I think that a lot of that is a male influence as far as the because I guess those are the roles, right? Like if you're in a couple scenario, like women would naturally pick out the kitchen and the decor in the house, and then you're the one that takes care of the electronics type of thing and whatever the garage nonsense. Like that's just what guys do, and then chicks just I don't like the look of that. Fuck me. Okay, let's go somewhere else. And that's the never-ending struggle till you find B&O, and then it looks cool and it sounds good and it works.
Though they are not what we used to have exactly, they are so close to the angry vegans again.
Well, she looks concentrated.
Yeah,
She looks like
reading
she's
was a New
concentrating.
York Magazine.
Probably it looks like it's a picture of like a migrant crisis or something.
very hip things,
Mm.
and they do a lot of fashion and things. But I don't know.
Is it a
Uh,
miss or is it a hit? Time will tell. I don't know who these people are, but it's the same thing. Like I've never heard of Berluti till they made those goofy '90s and headphones and balance and A1 whatnot. I don't know. I don't know if this is a good call or a bad call, or does it even matter? But yeah, I would agree that audio is a gender. It's a gendered space.
yeah, I don't like. Do we? I mean, partially from the YouTube, and I don't know how male YouTube skews. I think YouTube generally skews fairly male, but like, we have a woman or two maybe in our audience, but not that many.
No,
So
no.
I find it hard to tell. Maybe, but that may also be where we've segmented ourselves into, right? Like if we did this show on Facebook, would there be more women interested? Like I don't know that because I don't use it.
Yeah, but chicks are not that cool to talk stereos to.
Well, some are. Digibricks was.
Wow, she's like one of the fucking how many millions? You know, that's a golden nugget. That's a it's a diamond in a coal mine, bro. But yeah, I don't like even with my girlfriend, like we don't talk tech, right? Like, you know, if I start messing with the theater, I just see her eyes roll to the back of her head so far. But
Les says
oh,
my
there's a
wife still
vibration.
prefers the 50s over our 90s for looks. Same here. Part, a part of the reason why I'm hesitant is that my missus is also very much like I love. Well, correction. She says I love the 18s. Best speaker they ever made looks wise. I very much like the 50s. Looks wise, 90s, not for me. Like if I were to push, she'd accept them, I think, but it wouldn't be her choice to put them there.
What color would you go with if you had a chance to do it?
Whichever color, I can show her any color, and like
Oh,
black is definitely no, but white it's okay. The sand gold color it's okay. The midnight Parisian blue, sort of, lighter is definitely better,
mm-hmm.
but none of them are like I'll have those over 50s, please. And
Yeah.
especially with the aluminium grills we have, I'm not saying like there's not blame is the wrong word, but I don't blame her. But I do think, like, also on a personal level, the 50s look better than the 90s. But you
Well,
respect
they're
the 90s
mechanically
for
more
a different
interesting.
quality,
Yeah.
right?
90s is all about pure sound, where 50s do still have that Bang and Olufsen magic of movement, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't exist in the only communication you have is the halo ring on the top of the speaker that you get to see very well, especially when you're watching dark movies in complete darkness. You turn on the volume and just whoop, they come on. But yeah,
Let's.
fives are hard to sell to women, I find, or like when they were cool. We had a lot of couples that would argue over the look of them, and you know, eventually the man would win in a way, but it's not. It wasn't ever really the go-to choice for women. But we have few clients that are like just women living on their own, and they have few B&O pieces. One that I've done for a lady, she has a house 4.5 hours away from Montreal. We had to go and put up a shape and a BioVision contour on an STB tall floor stand. That was a pretty cool job. And it all works because it's all old ASC platform. She's never called with an issue, so we're happy. But I gotta say, the performance of the Beolab 8s as far as the stereo pairing retention has improved dramatically. Uh, I don't know. Sometimes I would blame our network in the shop more or less than anything with that goofy Eero nonsense we got going on. But
Yeah.
but there's also a unrealistic amount of product that we have in the store versus what the normal client would have. Because you wouldn't have, 2, 3 BeoSound 2s, a couple A5s, in all different colors, and usually we power most of this shit up anyways, and yeah, and then complicates the things because the Mozart likes to talk to each other a lot, especially
Yeah.
talk to the mothership.
I mean,
But
I do feel like this is a conscious choice since the balance on B&O's part. They have, and I think I said it at the time, the balance is much more female orientated, and that's, I think, why the response to it was so strong, design wise, right? Because everybody, but that was like all males, is going IKEA, IKEA, IKEA.
to me, it wasn't IKEA. To me, it's more or less Muto design, which is very subtle. It's very close to that, in my opinion.
But it's also, I think, a much more softer, nicer shape that is much more agreeable to most women.
Mm-hmm.
And it may
Well,
also...
it's a very inobtrusive shape, right?
Yeah. But it's not what, like, and maybe this is slightly biased, but like, I think most males like harder edges and more of that metal and aluminium.
Yeah, that industrious look to it.
And like, this is very general, but females like much more of that throw pillow and that blanket and that sort of thing.
And softer look and fabricy, and
like, I'll put up with some of it, but I actually hate when it's like a blanket permanently on the couch. Like, what the fuck for?
Are we freezing here?
Yeah.
No, that's the same thing. I used to struggle to understand, but I no longer waste my time on it. That my girlfriend, same thing. She's got 4 pillows in one head. Why do you need that?
Yeah.
And then you end up fighting with 2 extra pillows on the fuck off. It's call this.
Yeah, and then you end up throwing a pillow on the cat, and then the cat goes, and then you're awake. Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, the cat has its ways to wake us up at 5 in the morning, usually. I don't know why, man, but that cat has fallen in love with Velcro. Like, it is unbelievable. I found a new Velcro spool, so I made her a bigger ball. Oh boy, yeah, 5 in the morning. She brought it to bed and just like the karate with her paws in between us. I'm like, oh fuck, go away, cat.
So far, get your votes in. It's kind of interesting. B&O is 43% say mostly male orientated, 24% say somewhat male orientated, and 33% say neutral.
I'm leaning towards the neutral with the newer stuff. That's my take on it.
Yeah, the Beoplay
certain
5s,
products.
The Beoplay
Certain products.
5s are, I think, in general, much more amenable to men than to women.
Yeah, they're definitely
50s are softer.
Yes.
They're more
well,
round.
They look like phases, basically, right? Like large phases. That's what they remind me of.
And I like that, and like, I'm perfectly happy to say that that's more feminine than the 5s were.
Well, yeah, 5s are like Daleks, like you're just waiting for the lasers to shoot out of somewhere and cut you in half. But that's
we're nerds, man. We love Star Wars.
But that's 21 years ago design now, fudge. And they still stand the test of time. They're still a desirable speaker. And I wonder if B&O's going to come up with the classic. And if they're going to do with the classic, what are they going to come up with? The BeoSound 5 classic series with the 5s?
I kind of hope so.
If you need a BeoMaster 5, I found one brand new in box. I'll gladly send it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm quite excited to see what that software update will do with the new BeoLink surround when that is available. I'm also interested to see how much that'll affect the shop's performance and sales. Will we sell more? I think the good thing is that the people that already have the theaters now have a very economical option to upgrade for their rear surround channels if the I guess situation
Yeah, yeah.
permits.
I mean, Les says Alicia Keys has 90s, but like in the article, it even says her husband, Swiss Beats. He's in some circles equally famous, but probably kind of not because you have to say some circles. But he has
Hmm.
the B&O addiction. So I think like Alicia Keys has 90s is the typical like my husband bought this shit and I just have to live with it.
Yeah, but that's the same scenario with me, right? Like
I mean, it's probably
my
like you, Les, where like your wife just has to live with your 90s choice.
well, yeah, that's I think that's the best to get into the relationship prior to obtaining all or after obtaining all that stuff because it's easier for them. Like it's just it's the same thing. Like if you have a dog and you get into the relationship, they just accept the fact that you have the dog. But it's different when you want to get a dog with your girlfriend or a cat, right? Because then it's like it needs to be agreed on and which breed and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's the same. Like my girlfriend's never heard of B&O before we've met, and now fucked her up.
Max said, I remember Christy Robinson from Andrew Robinson's channel saying during the 28th review, for once you can see what you're paying for with Beolab 28s. B&O design is far more gender open than other hi-fi. Well, that's for sure. Like most
Yeah.
wooden, black, rounded, whatever boxes, I don't like those either, right? Like, I can respect them for what they do, but like,
I don't like to look at it, man. And we have these endless conversations in the shop, like, oh, we got these Cantons or Permister amp, and the amp is like 60 grand, right? And then you put these reference something speakers from Bowers and Wilkins, which I don't like the look of them because they look like somebody left a microphone on top of a speaker after they're done singing karaoke. That stupid tweeter looks just weird to me. Not a big fan of the look, no matter what wood and finish you dress these speakers in. I don't like the look of them. They sound amazing, but like in cost comparison, when you get into the cable science and the amplifier science and the preamp science and the source science and the speaker power science, uh, I think you're better off just buying 50s
yeah.
for the cost efficiency, and you have everything in there other than the source, and just get a BeoConnect core. And for how much those speakers are, I'm sure you can just negotiate to throw that shit in for free or whatever. But it just makes way more sense. It's so much less clutter than all this
Yeah.
third party stuff. Like I go into these houses where they have a nice surround sound system with the Canton speakers and stuff, and you go to the back of the receiver and it's like somebody dumped a spaghetti meatball sauce in it because it's just wires everywhere and it's not clean. It's I don't know. It's just it's not my type anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't do it.
These two ladies, by the way, are not models. They're designers. They have a designer handbag company called Media or Medea or something. They must be some sort of Nordic because they cycle, right? Like you would never around here.
No, or Montreal, I guess, probably.
But apparently they make very popular leather bags for the ladies.
I never heard of them.
Yeah, nor have I. But then again, I don't go bag shopping.
Neither do I. Oh yeah, dude. I have a limitation of about 15 to 20 minutes in the mall, and then it's it. But I go to the mall exactly the same way that the SWAT team enters a suspect's house, man. We get in and get out. Like I can't go and shop around and let's go to this store. Oh no.
Oh, they're Italian.
So, well, there you go. But yeah, I don't know nothing about them. I'm sure that they do an awesome job in designing stuff if B&O had picked them. But
question for the general chat: what would you do if you were B&O to make the brand more appealing to women? Or is there anything you could do? Or is audio just a thing where like it's sort of it's a sex/gender thing where like most women just don't care about it?
I think with women it's more or less the option of color that is way more appealing, and the choice of variety of, let's say, the materials. Like example 28s. You have a number of colors for the aluminum. You have a number of colors for the fabrics. You have a number of species of wood that is available for it, and then you can go bespoke, which is a little more expensive, but at the end of the day, like, you can have your own Barbie edition and have them pink, for God's sakes. If you're willing to pay for it, the B&O will do it.
Yeah, but they
And
don't advertise that either.
but that's where I was getting at. That bespoke program is very undersold, in my opinion. In even our shop, like, I think that we don't really have any bespoke stuff in the store other than the uniform gold tone uniform color grill on the BeoSound theater or BeoVision theater. But I would still like to have it on the gold one with replace those two top pads with the same thing, so it just looks white and gold. I think it would look sexy. But if you don't communicate that, it's very hard, and especially with B&O's pictures, because it's mostly renderings, and it's very hard to grasp the reality of how the fabric actually would look and feel. And it's easier to see it, in my opinion, than and with B&O you kind of have to touch it, man. It's a weird product that it's very refined, and I think that that's probably why it's also appealing to a lot of we have a lot of female clients that I think about it, that just
Yeah, but
women
are
that
they
live alone.
attached to the man that introduces them, or are they like themselves the initiator?
Some are themselves the initiator, but then again, I don't know, because when whoever walks into Kareem's little spider web, fuck, man, you go replace batteries in the remote and you walk out with the theater. So he is beyond skilled as a salesman. I really respect that in him. And yeah, I've never seen anybody with that amount of talent to just and it's not even to convince the people. I guess it's the way that he shows them the path, that this is the most proper way to go about it if you want to be minimalist with your gear, right?
The proper way
just
to
like
go is
on
to
the
give me more money.
and on the it's just like, I forget who said it on Discord, that their kids find it weird that their friends have more than one remote control in the house to
That's
operate
just good
things.
parenting.
That is very good parenting,
Because that is weird.
it's and yeah, and it's a lot of, I see that almost every day when for the newcomer to the B&O family that buys a BeoVision theater or something, and they you give them the one remote. It's like, well, what about the Helix? I'm like, you don't need any of that, it's all here. And then you walk them through it, and it's wow, like, yeah, like, it's everything is built in, man. You don't need, what you're looking at is what you bought. There's nothing to be hidden away in the only thing that's really hidden away is a freaking power bar.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, I think that there are products that are not appealing to women from B&O's portfolio, but I don't think there's very many of them.
Well, it
We've
seems
had
there
women that
seems to be
hated
some consensus
threes.
on the 90s, like they're not. I mean, maybe it's also like for most women, because there's a height difference, right? Like this, like where they go, like this is essentially my size.
Well, yeah, it's definitely an intimidating size speaker, right? Because
Yeah. Like the average female in this country is what, like 5'4", 5'3", something like that, and like
yeah,
80% of the, like, your speakers here.
yeah, they can see barely the top of the halo lens. But yeah, that's a very fair point. They're not as tall as Lab Ones, but Lab Ones were definitely a male
Yeah, but they're like
oriented
this
speakers.
wide. Like,
Yeah,
they're not like this wide.
I'm debating to unpack a pair. I don't know where to put them in the new apartment, but I'll play around. Maybe I'll take them out if they have an event, because there's a huge, like, a thing that I might just wheel them down to the community, to the common area for music, or borrow a A9 with the Quebecson logo on it and see if we can promote some B&O into their building. Can I get Halo to control my home and B&O speakers on the Google app? I don't think so.
What do you mean on the Google app? Like, you can use a Halo to control your speakers that have any sort of network connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's no problem. I don't understand how you mean on the Google app.
Yeah, I don't understand your question. Because if you're using Google, like let's say with the GBA emerges and levels, you can just yell at it and it'll do its thing. And then you group your speakers within the Google Home environment. So the Halo would just control the volume and maybe even a source selection once, but not in groups like I think what you're asking about. For that, you would need a gateway and just have a macro that triggers, let's say, evening music and turns on a bunch of product to a certain station to join.
You can multi-room them and have a master volume going.
Mhm. So, yeah, I don't know what you're asking, quite honestly, but I'm trying to stay away from all this Google nonsense. Halo controls on separate and not together.
You can multi-room them together.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm one of those that never enables Chromecast in my shit. I don't use it. I really have no need for any of that. I utilize everything through the BNO app, and yeah, like I said, the only problems that I have that you can't really call up the Tidal source, and the music in Tidal is not sequential play. It just plays one track and stops.
Probably if you
So
multi-room though, you lose the app control, so you have one control or the other. So
yeah,
I wouldn't say it's optimal to get a Halo for that situation.
Halo is a very good smart home remote, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the marketing falls apart for it, because it's not really just an audio video rudimentary controller.
What
Of course,
marketing?
of course it is.
When is the last time you saw a Halo in anything? You see it from customers, but you never see it from BNO.
Well, you'll see it every Sunday after on our closing outro.
That's partially why I keep it there.
That's it. But yeah, I wish that they came out with a little more options for the cover. I think that I would still go for the walnut front than that plastic cover.
I mean, I do think it's kind of expensive for what it is, but a lot of dealers will give you a deal on one, and then it's a very good remote, even if you don't do the whole home automation thing.
Mm-hmm. I like the elegance of it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
The Halo doesn't even show it. It does when you have a gateway. If you have a BeoLiving Intelligence, you can program time and weather to it to show
Has
as a
I/O
main,
as well.
screen and has IO exactly. You are able to do that. I've never really dabbled into the has IO, and quite honestly, once I move, I'm gonna unpack my gateway, and I will have to spend that $600 US to unlock the bloody thing and go from there.
You don't need a BeoLiving Intelligence. You can just use has.io. It's fairly agnostic into what you connect it to on the network.
Mm-hmm.
I think Billy was even using the light sensor as a trigger for stuff. So if you walked in front of it, which is something you can't do with the BLI, like it would like put light on or something. Because you can see all the inputs, and like the B&O logo is the see-through thing, and there's a light sensor.
And proximity one, yeah, which would be a great idea, I guess, like having it as a bathroom remote with the trigger to the lights when you walk in.
I think in like has.io or home is it HomeKit? I'm not this. I think you can even do it with the light sensor in the theater. That light sensor that lights the top up, like you can even use that as a trigger point.
That's interesting. Speaking of that, they still haven't introduced the cleaning mode for any of the Mozart platform product.
I still want that.
Oh, so do I. Well, the problem is if in installations where you don't have easy access to power cycle or power off the equipment, you are really struggling with triggering stuff and having a remote control and wiping this down and turning it off in the same time because it starts triggering my buttons. It should be fixed. It should be fixed. But yeah, you guys, I guess on the last note, please address the Tidal source on a Beo Remote 1. I don't know if you need to push the update to the remote. I don't really think so. I think it just needs to be opened up into. I think that all the sources that are available in the source behavior should be also visible in the Beo Remote itself. And I don't know if the AirPlay, like if I think AirPlay should work the same. If it doesn't, I don't know if you can call up the AirPlay and whatever was the last product streaming to it that would reinitiate. I don't think it does that, because AirPlay just f's off on you, doesn't it? So where's your eyeballs going?
Sorry.
What, you got a spider on the screen?
No. These the aluminium covers we saw for the Beolab 8 weren't done by B&O. They were by
it's some Chinese brand.
the Reno Studios. I think they're located also in Germany somehow. I mean, maybe it's one of those collaborations. I don't know, but
which would explain the quality of the aluminium, because Germany supplies B&O with aluminium ingots or whatever they machine from. So my only question is, how much would that affect the Wi-Fi and Weisa transmitters? Because now you're encasing that product more or less, I would say 70% with metal.
I'm with Steve. Wire everything.
Oh, 100%.
If you can.
But they look legit, man. They look legit. But
I want some. But then I need to buy some 8.
Let's just wear them as a Halloween mask. Fuck.
I personally love this, and I know it's not for everybody, but like, I really think it's unless your access point is really far away, I don't see this having any real issue.
No. I don't think it's too much bling. I actually do like the silver one. Maybe silver with the black anthracite grill and vice versa.
That's what I absolutely would go for. I would have this cover on the anthracite one, or the anthracite cover on the silver one.
Mm-hmm.
And the way my house is currently, I still have to make a video and stuff about it, is I would have the anthracite 8 with the aluminium, that, and then the aluminium wall bracket.
Mm-hmm.
So you have aluminium, anthracite, aluminium. I think that would look amazing.
Yeah.
Also, I agree. My walls aren't white at all in this place. It's like in my kitchen, most of my kitchen is sort of foresty green.
Okay.
My living room is like a really dark blue.
I think they need to go for diamonds for true millionaire market. They want. Paul says. Yeah, you should bling them out, man. I think they look cool. I do like them. I'm not sure if that affects the sound quality, or they actually put the magnets in the same correct way that it knows that it's got the lamella grill in front of it. Because I don't think the material, in an essence, would impact the sound quality as much as the amount of perforations that it has to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that, but yeah, they look solid, man. They look solid as rock.
I mean, they come from a literal solid piece.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also kind of interesting.
I wonder what's their reject rate, because like they had like the Beolab 12s when they were around, the white color came out from all the rejects from the aluminium discoloration of during the extrusion and machining process.
Give them a follow, if you like.
There's what, $1,200 a piece for a grill, which is not that outrageous.
Canadian, I think it's €750.
That's not that bad for a grill compared to what B&O charges for wood.
I mean, because
I'm sure it takes way more refinement.
So it's $1,500 for these for 2, and I think B&O for the oak charges $1,250 for a set. I mean, the difference is B&O's is always a set, and this is one, right? So it's $1,500 for 2.
No, they don't come as sets from B&O. They all come as individual. It's never 2.
I think I only got quoted the set. I think it's €1,250 for like the oak, or what is it?
Yeah, I don't know the price, but I know for a fact that like everything comes.
It's
a la
not that
carte.
far off, but this is like
Mm.
solid piece of aluminium. Like, I don't understand why B&O's wood is that expensive, quite honestly.
That ultrasonic welding, bro. That's it.
Goddamn sexy, though.
Yeah, they are.
I may have to actually follow up and give them my money.
God damn it.
But then I also have to buy a set of 8, and now I'm like,
Well, yeah,
I did say I would.
The farmer found a rope and bought a cow, right? So there you go. Get your girls and buy the speakers for it.
Anders says it's €2,000 for 2 wood. Holy crap! In that case,
Yeah. This is a good deal.
Let's see what Max says. It's so an A5 on a Beoplay 20. What the hell? What the hell is going on here? And another A5, and then a balance, and a balance, and an A5.
BeoConnect core, I see. So I think it's I think he's doing the BeoLink surround
and an edge back here.
But that's not compatible, so that's just sitting there. It looks like it's an ex-showroom of some sort, his furniture is, because it does this Beo sound where the edge is sitting on, so it's probably the whole display kit. This is definitely somebody that is working with B&O.
Interesting. Yeah, in terms of a setup, I don't think your BeoConnect core is going to solve any of that.
No, that's too much. That's too much. You try to replicate the 90s? Oh yeah, well, good luck. That's not gonna work for you, bro.
Well, I'm gonna drool some more over this, and I'm gonna call it for today, because
you bet. Goddamn, indeed.
I'm gonna be poor now. Like,
there comes the 8s.
Yeah, I don't know where to put them, which is also another thing. But
you'll figure it out. You'll put them as heights for in front of the 50s, above the TV.
Oh, there's 17s there. I guess I can put that somewhere else again, but anyway, have a good week, everybody. I'm gonna drool, and see you all next week.
Thanks for watching. Bye.